The leftists are big mad at Judge Judy for this clip that we're about to show you of her talking about the Donald Trump trial and how the taxpayer money that was spent on that could have been spent to keep criminals off the streets.
The union for the NYPD tells CBS to, quote, criminals are emboldened to attack because they believe they won't be held accountable. Our system has sent a dangerous message.
She's dropping the mic, or should I say dropping the gavel, and we're gonna talk about it. Let's get into it.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
Guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe to show this video some love, and more so than that, show Judge Judy some love. Your girl loves Judge Judy. She has been a pillar / role model in my life for so long because she's just been in the background. Y'all know Judge Judy had one of the most, if not the most successful TV show on air with her show, Judge Judy, where she functions as a judge in some of these small claims court cases, and she tells people who did what, where, when, and why, and who needs to get paid. And now Judge Judy was interviewed by Chris Wallace, and he brought up this Trump trial that's been happening in the state of New York, where she happens to have a residence, and she said this.
The Apprentice.
All right, and he was terrific on The Apprentice. You can tell here that Judge Judy is choosing her words wisely, as I believe she has done for most of her career. But in talking about this, she points out what I feel like should be common sense for most people, that this was largely a witch hunt, that they manipulated the justice system in order to go through with this Trump trial and have him convicted on those 34 counts, which of course happened recently. And we know this. They even changed one of the crimes that they were trying him for from a misdemeanor to a felony in order to catch him out on it. And if you find yourself confused about what he's even being convicted for, you can join a ton of other people in the general population who also feel the same way. It's clear that this was a witch hunt. They wanted to bring down Donald Trump, and they were capable of manipulating the justice system in order to do so, at the expense of the people living in New York, as she points out. If you look at the streets of New York, or the subways, or the rates of crime, and more so than that, the lack of prosecution for those crimes, you can see that the city is in trouble. And instead of dealing with that, which would impact the people living there more positively than this Trump trial would, they go through with the trial. And I find it almost hilarious that we have a figure like Judge Judy, who has been doing trials in front of the American public for goodness knows how long, coming forward and is in fact a sham. And of course, a lot of people on the left are pissed to hear these words come out of Judge Judy's mouth, but I don't know why they're surprised given her history, which we'll get into in just a moment. I think we could have seen this coming from her from a mile away, but nonetheless, let's read some tweets of people responding to this clip. Brooklyn Dad Defiance says, I always knew Judge Judy was trash. Can't believe it took this long for people to find out. Zen says, proof. Judge Judy? Just another Judge Eileen Cannon, bought and paid for by far-right dark money billionaires. Yes, Karen says, I've lived in New York for over 40 years. I take the subway. Does she? I walk the streets. She rides with car and driver. It is not impossible, and I also want people who cheat in business to be charged. And Gianni says, did she hit her head somewhere? It's so funny that people who have looked to Judge Judy as a voice of reason for so long are suddenly accusing her of being unreasonable, and in my opinion, she hit the nail right on the head. That money could have been spent better. It doesn't matter how you slice it up, that is the truth. And as I said before, this is no surprise from Judge Judy. Let's roll some old clips of Judge Judy doing interviews talking about her personal ideology. Here's her on Megyn Kelly discussing whether or not she identifies as a feminist.
You said you never considered yourself a feminist. Why is that? And do you get the same kind of pushback in saying that I do? Because I've said the same.
I get pushback. You have to listen to it. You're younger. I don't listen to it because I'm older. Because when I was growing up and going to school and being a lawyer and trying to become a judge and becoming a judge and then becoming a supervising judge, I didn't do it through any organization. And I think it takes away from your own self-worth if you say, I did it based on the work of a larger group. Now, it's nice to have it's like having a large family, you know, family being a safety net for you. It's nice to have a safety net. But if you don't have your own self-worth and forge forward yourself, that safety net, all it can do is give you the bottom. You have to push it through yourself. And I think that that's what makes me say, I'm really not a feminist, I'm an individualist. I think that individuals each have within themselves the capacity to be the hero of their own story. It doesn't always have to be a star of a television program to be the hero of your own story. You want to be a doctor, a lawyer, an Indian chief, whatever you want to be, you can be the best at it, be the most recognized in that profession or vocation. That makes you the hero of your story.
That's right. You can be a burger flipper and be the best darn burger flipper they've ever seen.
Be a great family person, be a great parent, be a great child, be a great citizen, be a great volunteer. That can make you a hero. That doesn't take a village. That takes an individual spirit. And I think everybody has it within themselves to do that.
So clearly you can see here in this video that Judge Judy is really pushing back on this collectivist narrative that she is one part of a larger machine that is feminism, doing her part on behalf of the collective. In fact, she views herself as an individual, which sort of signals where her political ideology may lie. But it's also clear that she does not want to put a label on herself, for taking on that label comes with a whole laundry list of other ideas and other ideologies that you are now attached to in taking on the label. And I like that she's just straightforward and direct about where she's at in life. She tells Megyn Kelly, you know, you're young. You have to entertain these things. You have to hear these people out. I've been there. I've done that. I've seen it. I know where I stand. And she stands in a very traditional mindset. And that's okay, because oftentimes we'll find that the traditional mindset is backed by common sense. And it shines through even more in old clips where Judge Judy talks about the gender differences between men and women. Let's watch.
Women have a need to nest. They are natural nurturers. Men, on the other hand, and I think I use this, my husband, he loved the idea of nesting, but he just wanted to rent the nest. I wanted to own the nest. And so very often men and women have a different agenda. And I think part of that is natural. I think part of that is just nature. That women will sometimes overlook and, you know, make excuses for in order to stay in a relationship. Well, those kinds of ladies keep me in business, because what they do is they go from one very often bad relationship to another, and they both emotionally invest in that relationship and financially invest in that relationship, and very often try to bribe their way into that relationship. Let me take over your credit card debt, you know, you can pay me back. Let me co-sign for a car for you. You know, we're going to be together forever. Move into my house, and if you can't afford to contribute, well, we'll work on it. You know, I want you to go and get that third doctorate that you've been longing to get. Whatever it is, we accommodate. And very often women are disappointed. And you would think that they would learn from the experience, but it has been my experience in court, both in court in New York City, in the family court in New York City, and for the last 17 years on my program, that women keep coming back. It's almost like salmon spawning. They keep going upstream, hoping to find that perfect person with whom they can own the nest. And I think that that's different from men who very often want a relationship and want to, you know, would like to marry and have a family, but they have a much longer blooming period. They can think about getting married for the first time when they're 50.
Now you might be thinking, Amala, why did you show that clip? It seems kind of benign, innocuous. She says a lot of very valuable things in that clip. One, that men and women are different, and she believes that that difference is natural, and that flies in the face of a lot of the ideology and narratives that we're being told today. For a long time, she was the final stop in a lot of people's conflicts, some of them the biggest conflicts of their lives that were now going to be aired out in front of the public. And she had to decide what was true, what was false, who's lying, who's being honest, and do so with a fine-tuned radar towards that stuff. She spent a long time building up that trust with the American public, and not because she's some girl boss feminist, but because she's smart. In fact, the top comment on one of those videos we just reacted to from Judge Judy says this: I don't watch Judge Judy because I want to see a woman in control, but rather because she is intelligent. And I don't think she would have had the career that she ended up building if total nonsense was coming out of her mouth. So maybe we should give her a bit of a listen here and see if there's something of value in what she's saying about the Trump trial in New York City, because I can guarantee with what I've seen and what we've all learned about this trial that there is something there, that Judge Judy has hit the nail on the head once again. So yeah, there you have it. Judge Judy is speaking common sense as she has for the past few decades. And if you're shocked by the statement that she made in that interview with Chris Wallace, then you probably haven't been watching Judge Judy, because she's been pretty honest. I think she's known for that. So there we have it. You know, as far as judges go, some people have Ruth Bader Ginsburg or Ketanji Brown Jackson. I'm gonna keep Judge Judy, the queen of common sense. But those are just my thoughts. Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, I encourage healthy debate, so if you disagree with anything said in this video, duke it out, but do so respectfully. And if you like this video, like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a video for you guys, which is every day. And I will see you next time. Court is adjourned.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.